White people are scared to death right now, particularly white males. They're scared to death that they are going to lose their power in the future. And they are.
What scares us is I think we hear violence.
We hate because we're taught to hate. We hate because we're ignorant.
Say black nationalists, you have been taught to fucking fear that because our progression got you scared. Because you think our progression means your regression.
Wagwan. Welcome to my YouTube space. It's another day. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. Thank you. And returning subscribers, you are the one who keep me here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All love to you. And those who are new subscribers, thank you for passing by and stick here because we are creating something out of this. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it the African way. Now, in this video, I'm going to react on this idea of white people hate black people. Why do white people hate black people? Or why white people are scared of black people? Okay, this is what we are going to talk today because there is videos that I'm going to show you that white people they are giving their opinions on why they are scared of black people. Because personally, I think white people are scared of black people because they think black people will revolt. They think black people will come again, or they will pay back on the atrocities that were done to them back then. But on the other hand, I think white people, some of them, not all of them, they are scared of black people, or they hate, that's the worst name to use, but hate black people because that is how the system want for us to have a white supremacy, for us to have or to still have white people being in the lead. We need to install fear. And these white people are forced to fear black people, or some of the white people are forced to hate white people because the system wants that so that we can still have this colonizing, we can still have the supremacy, we can still have the oppression, because without fear, all of us will be equal. We need fear between these two races so that one race can respect one another. Now, let's watch this video. And on these videos, we have Jane Elliott, this lady. She's telling us why they hate black people or why they are scared of black people, and a number of videos that I'm going to show you. Kindly subscribe and watch until to the end. I'll be back here with more commentary. Okay? Stick on.
We hate because we're taught to hate. We hate because we're ignorant. We are the product of ignorant people who have been taught an ignorant thing, which is that there are 4 or 5 different races. There are not 4 or 5 different races. There's only one race on the face of the earth, and we're all members of that race, the human race. But we have separated people into races so that some of us can see ourselves as superior to the others. We thought it would work, I guess. It hasn't worked. It has been bad for everyone. But it's time to get over this business. There is no gene for racism. There's no gene for bigotry. You're not born a bigot. You have to learn to be a bigot. Anything you learn, you can unlearn. It's time to unlearn our bigotry. It's time to get over this thing, and we best get over it pretty soon. I'm an educator, and it's my business as an educator to lead people out of ignorance. The ignorance of thinking that you're better or worse than someone else because of the amount of a pigment in your skin. Pigmentation in your skin has nothing to do with intelligence or with your worth as a human being.
I was brought up in, quote, Bedford-Stuyvesant in my time. But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
They're afraid that they're going to lose their so-called superiority. They're afraid that they're going to have to face the truth. that they aren't white and they aren't superior and they are not the color, the color of their skin because God made them white. They're going to have to face the fact that we all of us came originally from a country on the continent of Africa, and our ancestors, if you trace your DNA back far enough, you'll find out that your ancestors looked like you. They didn't look like me because their bodies produced a lot of melanin to protect their cells from the damaging rays of the sun. And here's what's going to solve this. And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute, and he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, "The main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country." He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are 3 things we can do to solve this. Number 1, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you?
Can you talk a little bit about the trauma associated with?
The trauma associated with it?
Yeah.
One of the main traumas is it tells white people that they are superior because of the lack of melanin in their skin. And then they find out suddenly that we've got a black president. That's traumatic. That's where the trauma is. Living a lie, finding out the truth is traumatic. Finding out now, recently, that within 30 years, white people will be in the numerical minority in this country is going to be traumatic. White people are scared to death right now, particularly white males. They're scared to death that they are going to lose their power in the future. And they are. But if you want to get ready for the future, if you want to be treated well in the future, treat others well in the present. What we do in the present constructs the future. We called the Japanese, and you'll pardon me, but this is what we called them, slant-eyed little yellow We didn't say that about the Germans. After the war, we rebuilt Germany and Japan. And we get along beautifully with the Japanese. That was in 1945 that we finally won that war. How many years ago was that? Figure that out quickly.
I'm not a math person, but...
You're not a math person, but you know it wasn't that far. Right. And it didn't take 50 years for us to have peace with the Japanese and the Germans, even though we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The Japanese hadn't killed 10 million people. Nowhere near that. We didn't drop any bombs on Germany, any atomic bombs on Germany. They were a different kind of people. We couldn't afford to do that. We killed how many Japanese people with 2 atomic bombs? And they forgave us. You want to talk about forgiveness? You want to talk about changing this thing? I cannot understand how Japanese people can stand the sight of any of us, and yet they do. I cannot understand why black people who have been subjected to the ugliness that they've been subjected to in this country can get up every morning and go to work among us and not be absolutely furious. And I don't understand why we allow white people to behave the way they do. I don't understand that. And my 3rd graders, after they'd gone through the exercise, couldn't understand it and wouldn't tolerate it. And when they went up to junior high and a junior high teacher used the N-word, one of my former students said, if you're going to use that word, I'm going to go out in the hall until you stop using it, because we don't use that word in this school. That was a 7th grader who told his teacher off. When we have enough students who are willing to confront people who are making racist, sexist, ageist, homophobic statements, we're going to be better off. We have got to stop tolerating the intolerable. If it's intolerable for my black cousins, and every black person on this earth is one of my cousins, if it's intolerable for them, it's intolerable for me. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. That is not, that, I am required not to tolerate that kind of treatment for the people who are related to me. And that's every person on the face of the earth. If your ignorance is such that you'll mistreat somebody because of your ignorance about the color of their skin, don't do it around me. Number one, I've been threatened with death lots of times. Now I say, go for it, fool. My husband died 4 years ago. Being with him would not be a bad thing for me. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living a worthless, useless life is much worse than dying.
Our white people so fucking afraid of us. Like, what we gonna do to y'all? We're not gonna kill you, because if we was about that life, we'd have already been doing that. So, you know, it's not like black people just gonna kill white people. Can't have that. Y'all develop businesses, shit still exists. We did Black Wall Street, y'all burnt that shit down. We can't do that. Y'all own guns, government try to take the guns for y'all all jump up and get scared. I got my Second Amendment rights. I get to have all types of guns. Bunch of black dudes get a guns. They can't even do a mannequin challenge. You raid the motherfucking house. Tell me something that look like some possible suspicious activity going on. It may be a hazard to safety. Well, guess what? I posted a video of a bunch of white dudes doing a mannequin challenge. They got their Confederate flag and everything. You know what I'm saying? I think it might be some suspicious activity going on over there. You're not gonna raid that shit, is you? I say, black nationalists, you have been taught to fucking fear that because our progression got you scared. Because you think our progression means your regression. Black people ain't got no problems with white people. Damn. We the most forgiving people you could possibly be. Y'all couldn't have picked a better people to fuck over. We forgive you for every goddamn thing. Motherfuckers done, not only do we forgive, some of us so stupid we done fucking forgot. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Only problem black people got is that y'all got a fucking problem with us. We just trying to eat like everybody else.
Welcome back. Now, if there is some noise, you are hearing some noise, I'm sorry for that, because I'm shooting this video somewhere where there's a little noise, I don't know. But I've heard the videos, you have heard what Jane Elliott has to say out here. And she's a woman that I respect so much, one of the white lady that I respect because she always hit the nail. And all those white people who are out here fighting the system, equality and everything, and talking about racism, I respect you so much. Now, on my perception, the idea of white people to fear black people or hate black people is a broad discussion. The idea of all white people to fear black people or hate black people is a broad discussion that everyone sees it from his or her own perspective. Like the perspective of white people is different from the perspective of black people. Perspective, it depends where you come from and depends which country you are from. If you are from Africa, there is a way you will see that discussion. If you are American black, if you are Caribbean, there's a way you will see that discussion. Because when we talk about white people being scared of black people, someone will be like, yo, we are scared of white people. Why are they scared of us? But deep down, they are really scared of black folks. They are really scared of the unity of black people. They are really scared because some of them has the fear that black people one day may pay back or may revolt or may decide to do what their ancestors did to the black people back then. And that is the worst nightmare of a black person. Nightmare of a white person, not black person, sorry for that. Now, for example, those white settlers who are in South Africa, there is a way they are protected their land, because when the time of Jim Crow law, the time of segregation, black people suffered in the hands of the white settlers. The black South Africans suffered in the hands of white South Africans. So right now, black South Africans are in power. They are running economy. They are still, they have good jobs. So they are on the run, all of them. So white South Africans will fear that black people or black South Africans, one of these days, they will pay back what we did to them. So that is installing fear on them. Okay. It's called historical oppression and guilty. Legacy of slavery, colonization, segregation has created a psychological burden, leading to some white people to fear relation and resentment. And again, this may create hatred towards them, to white people or towards black people. This may create hatred because once you have this guilty of a person you oppressed one day, you will have to hate him. It's only by hating him that you will sustain that, the buga. The buga. It's only by being scared of him, you will create that distance. It's only by hating him, you will create that space. So, some of the white people, they fear or hate black people because of the historical oppression and guilty. I've heard on the Jane Elliott talking about that. She knows what she's talking about. Another reason why white people will hate or being scared of black people is how the media portray black folks. Media plays a bigger role in this racial thing. Media plays bigger role in the black and white history and stories. The media often perpetuate, they create stereotypes that associate black people, particularly black men, with crime and violence, and that it installs fear on other people, not only white people only, but even Asian people, even other black people. They are being fed by these stories that black folks or American blacks, they are somehow scary. No? On my list, number 3, why white people may be scared of black people or why white people may hate black people is the systematic racism and social conditioning. Systematic racism and social condition. Now, many societies have ingrained biases that depict black people as dangerous or threatening, influencing how individuals perceive race from a young age. Now, racism is being taught even in the white schools. White children are being taught the racism. Yeah. And racism is there to make sure that black folks or black people are seen as dangerous. Racism is there to see that black people are seen as inferior. Racism is there to make sure black people are being belittled. Because when you teach your Indian, Arab, or white child that black person is somehow like this, his characters is like this, he's a bad guy, so you need to distance yourself from a black person. Or when you see a black person, be racist. They are not good. So this is installing fear into young kids, and they will grow up hating black people. They will grow up being scared of black people. Whenever black person is in the neighborhood, you see this young boy or young white girl being scared of that black man. Because you gotta not tell me it is instincts telling him or her to be scared of this black man. It's because of what they are being taught. Because a white child, a white boy or a white girl will not just wake up one day and hate black people. A white boy or white girl will not just wake up one day and hate or being scared of black people. No. A black person, a black kid, a girl or a boy will not wake up one day and being respectful to white person, showing a lot of, white person is here. No, it is something that we are being taught at a younger age, and we are carrying it on and on upon generation to generation, creating fear and hatred within the kids, the white kids or black kids. And this is why racism will never stop. Because when the colonizers came to Africa, when the Europeans came to Africa, they wanted to colonize Africa, and they had tools to be used to colonize Africa. One of the tools they used is religion, Christianity. And what they did is this. They brought Christianity through their missionaries, and they told them this, particularly in Congo, Zaire, particularly the king of Belgium, the second, he told the missionary, go there and teach this to the kids. Don't teach the older people, because they already know what is true. They already know their God. They already know that we are bad people. So what do? Go and teach the kids about this. Because the kids will grow up with this thing on their mind and they will never revolt. And that's why you see racism and scary and fear and everything is being taught in the schools. White people are learning this. The reason why our school, we are learning about colonialism, we are learning about that white people discovered this, we are learning about who discovered Jamaica and who discovered Indian Ocean. We are learning about who brought missionaries or who brought Christianity, is to make sure as we grow up, we already know that white people are superior. They brought religion, Christianity. They brought God, they brought Jesus. How can you bring Jesus? So that you want to tell me that when these when these Europeans were not here in Africa, black people were not religious. You want to tell me when missionaries had not come to Africa that Africans are just living like animals, no worshiping. You want to tell me that the white folks are the one who brought Jesus? We are being taught this and being shown the pictures of white Jesus so that it is installed in our mind. It's a systematic installment in our mind that God is white. And they will tell you there is someone in heaven watching you every day. And this someone we think is a white person. They will tell you there is someone down here on the earth that is waiting to burn you down when you do mistakes. So what do? Give us your resources. You go and worship this God that we have brought. I think I'm ending that there because I'm going to another topic. It's a topic for another day. But at the end of the day, I see that white people are being scared or they hate black people because it is something that is created. It's not natural that I will grow up natural. No, it is created and being taught to us. And black people, we submit to white people because they even wrote in the Bible that slaves, you have to submit to your master, and a white man is a master to you. White people are our masters, and that's why black people, everywhere we see white person, we want to, come on, sit here, muzungu. Oh my goodness. When we see a white person, we want to shake hands. Oh, I have shake hands with a muzungu. We are all the same, bleeding same blood, which is red. So these other scary hatred and everything, segregation and respect and everything, because we need to be the same. A white person need to respect a black person. When a black person comes and a white person feels like you have to sit here, respect to both of us. But black people are seen as slaves and white folks as masters. That is a systematic, that is a system installed. Tell me what you think on the comment section about this video. Let's meet on the other X episode. If I have spoken something wrong, please forgive me because I'm just reacting and speaking my mind. I think I have a little sense on it. If I don't have sense, tell me in the comment section that Kenyan Beast here, you are wrong. Tell me on the comment section. Until next time, peace be with you.